Today is the 30th of August and it feels that the summer is almost over. Although it's now sunny, we've had a lot of rain in the last few days and makes a change. And lo and behold, the planes are flying again, which we're very happy to hear, because during the lockdown, I missed the planes in a way. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do like a magazine of walking around the nursery and showing you what is going on. Many people home in on one specific project, but in a nursery, things happen all the time. Plants don't stand still, they keep growing. And sometimes they grow fast, sometimes they grow slow, some plants grow, some plants die. And I'm going to show you everything that is going on in the nursery. So let's begin by walking around and showing you some of these. Now, these are the blowers junipers, Chinese juniper blowers, which a contract grower grows for us. And they came into the nursery in February of this year, and they were only that high. And look at it, it's almost trebled in size. So this is the way we grow our trees. When we grow our trees, they really grow strong. So I can't keep putting it at the same price because it's more than doubled in size. So that is something that we keep working on. And I've done a project about how we produce these for commercial Chinese juniper S-shaped bonsai. And if you look there, you can see our tried maples. We prune them in the summer. They're all in the flower pots on holiday. But again, this is like 2-3 weeks growth. This is 1 month's growth. Look at it, 45 or 50 centimeter long, and they're all growing strong. I don't always keep pruning it back all the time. I let them go and then prune it back. So I will show you what I will do to those. So I will just walk you around the nursery and just show you everything that is going on. Let's take a general tour first, and then we will work on specific. So if you walk around with me, I may have shown it before. These are our Chinese junipers, which are on holiday. Masses of them, look at them. And they're all being grown in these big boxes of flower pots to strengthen the tree. Then I will work on it again. So all these trees are being worked on, and they're being left to grow unchecked so that they become strong. There are many interesting projects around here, and because I've got such a lot of stock, I tend to forget it. And I can see some lovely willows there. I may pull 1 or 2 of those willows out and show you what I do with weeping willow, because many people ask about weeping willow, and it's time I did something about weeping willow. So this is how we grow them. And let's see what we can get out of this one. So this is a candidate for working on, so I will pull this out. So this is going to be a general program of what we call odds and ends. So there's no fixed title, it's just a magazine of things. So as we walk around, I will show you what is going on. These maples are being grown in boxes to make them strong. This is a very rare maple. I can't even remember the name. I've got to dig out the buying list. These come from Japan as big bonsai, so I'm growing it strong because I air layer parts of the tree. So that's another big project. That one is a Saihizuru. And if we walk past this big magnolia, in case you wonder what this magnolia is, this is called longiflora, Magnolia longiflora, very big leaf magnolia, and the flowers are insignificant, but the seed pods are ever so beautiful. Look at all these lovely seed pods on the tree. So that's not going to be bonsai because the leaves are much too big. But as we walk around here, you can see all the maples that we have going around. These are the shojos that we are going on, and these are different because these are some of the few shojos I produce myself from cuttings. So they are on their own roots, they're not grafted. But these, believe it or not, are more than 20 years old, and cuttings are very, very slow to grow. So I'm keeping these to grow into bigger trees, so they are not for sale. And if you look around, there are so many big maples all waiting to be converted into bonsai or made into garden trees. There's always layerings going on. I don't know whether this is rooted or not. Some are rooted, so at this time of the year I like to check and see what has happened to some of them. So this one, I don't think this is my handiwork. I usually recognize the way I do my air layerings, and I always put clear plastic bags so I can see the roots. But this one hasn't got a very clear plastic bag. So let's see. Hard to tell from this because there's a bit of grass growing and it could be grass roots rather than maple roots. If you look closely, you see the callus. That's what we call callusing. That's callusing. Lots of callus. And if I remember right, this one calluses a lot but doesn't send roots. So I'm not sure whether it's time to take it off or not. You can see the big callus, look at it. Look at that massive callus. So it's formed a big callus again, but no roots. So I'll have to wait again next year. So not all the maples are successful. So I will leave this. I'll put hormone rooting powder on that and do it again. So sometimes when it doesn't work, you've got to try again. But as I say, different maples respond differently. The easiest ones are the straight mountain maple. This I'm not sure what this one is. It's some sort of purpureum. This is a wisteria that I dug up from the ground as a rooted cutting, so that's going to be made into a bonsai. These long shoots, I let it grow to make it strong and then I cut it back there. So this will have a chance to become a proper bonsai. Now this one I've been wanting to work on for years and years. And as you can see, it is massive. It is a field maple. It was grown in a pot, in a mica pot, but I've been waiting to work on it. And you must be wondering why I leave these long shoots to grow. Look at the shoots. Every bit 8 to 10 foot long. And there's a good reason why I do these things. Many people think I'm lazy or I'm a fool, but I don't think I'm quite that. I leave these to grow to strengthen the tree. With bonsai, there's always a time element. And with the passage of time, the trees improve and get better. So I'm going to work on this in a moment. I'll show you what I do with that. Now these are the black pines that I grew from seed, you won't believe, about 25 years ago. And they are so slow in growing, so slow. So I'm not in a hurry to do anything. I may wire some of these up just to show you what I will do. So I will probably take one or two of these in and show you. Look at it, this is not likely candidate, so I'll take this one in. And then there are other trees which are air layerings waiting to be made into bonsai. Look at this one. This is going to be a big bonsai. This is going to be a very big bonsai like that. So there's some work to do with this one. So there's no end of maples here. They're all starting to turn their lovely autumn color. You can see some of these maples we've cut down because they're all waiting to become bonsai. So this will be a bonsai. So come the winter and this early spring, you will see how we transform these into bonsai. So all these are bonsai candidates. Some of them you can already recognize. halfway to becoming bonsai. So these were grown in pots, so there's a bonsai there already. So these are all ongoing projects. These are all cut down. These big trees, they're just cut down and we grow it again to make bonsai. There's another one. So these are all these 6-8 foot high trees. We cut it down and this is how the bonsai are created. There's another one. These were all tall trees like that. This was cut only this summer and that's going to be another tall bonsai. And so it goes on. Wherever you turn you will see that they're all bonsai in the making like this. And this, by the way, is from this summer. We've had such a high temperature summer. About 3 weeks ago we had temperature of 38.6 I think it was centigrade, which is very hot. I think it broke all records. So we do get hot summers in this country and the heat has damaged a lot of trees. This is a very rare maple and I haven't the heart to make it into a bonsai, but this one, if you look at the leaves closely, if I'm not mistaken, this one is called Hagaromo. So this is a very rare maple, but this will probably be air-laid. Now just looking at this one, let me show you what's going on with this tree. Now this maple, if you look at it closely, mind the weeds because we don't apply too much weed killer so the weeds grow like crazy here. So this tree was cut here about 3 years ago over there, and then a new leader was grown and then cut there again, another leader grown. So this is becoming a very nice bonsai. You must be wondering why there are lots of new leaves here. What has happened that because of the hot summer many of these leaves got scorched, so we took some of the leaves off and these leaves were taken off in July, and lo and behold all these new leaves have sprouted again. Look at them sprouting from the old wood. So sometimes if you leaf cut you get this effect. So this will become a very nice bonsai in due course. So these are all potential candidates for bonsai. The more I look, the more impressed I am at what we've been able to achieve. This was a very old maple, a tall tree, and look at the beautiful nebari on that one. And although it's got like a twin trunk, I don't know what to do with it, but it looks nice like that, so I'll just let it grow in a natural style. So this will go in a bonsai pot come February. So there are all these candidates waiting to become bonsai this coming spring. So without further ado, I will now go and get my secateurs and saw and we'll start working on some trees. Now, while I was talking about maples and the new growth, look at this one. This is inside our greenhouse. And this is a large deshojo that we are making into bonsai. So I cut a big branch off there and I cut the leader off and the branches are sprouted. But this is what we call mildew. Because we've had such a hot summer and at odd times we've been watering heavily, when there's a lot of moisture, you get mildew. And this is a disease that is very hard to eradicate. It normally affects roses, but it doesn't affect all the maples. Just certain maples tend to get it. And apparently, if you get it, you've got to be very careful how you deal with it. You've got to cut every leaf off and burn these affected leaves. That's the only way to stop it spreading. But fortunately, it doesn't affect many trees. But I find that the deshojo is very prone to mildew. But if you look around this greenhouse, there's so many maples here, but they're all clean. You see, they're not affected at all. So it tends to only affect the deshojo. I will also show you what we do with these. These are the S-shaped trees that we leave it to get long, to become strong. But at some stage, we bring them back. So although they may look a bit unkempt, there's a reason for leaving it unkempt. And usually when they're left unkempt, it is to make the tree strong. So there is always method in our madness. Okay, we'll now go and get the tools and implements and work on the field maple. So I'm going to work on this field maple, and I think I should try and get it out from here, but I know that it's rooted in the ground. Many of these trees, when you grow in the ground, not grow in the ground, you place it on the ground, they get rooted into the ground. They make them stronger because they send out lots of roots into the soil, but I think we need to get it out. So let me cut the roots off. I've been meaning to work on this tree for the last couple of years, but every time I want to work on it, I've got so many projects on the go that I don't find the time to tackle it. So I want to video what I'm doing, so let me see what I can do myself. You can see, despite my age, I can still work on these heavy things. And by the way, field maple, they grow from root cuttings very easily. So all these roots won't be wasted. They will all become very interesting little trees.
You got a robin, Peter?
I'm almost there. Many of the bonsai demonstrations are about doing the finished tree, but this is showing you how we actually get the trees out to work on. And I will show you now the base. Look at the base here. I'll get Josh to turn around. Look at the roots that have come through the bottom of the pot. Look at it. It's cracked the pot as well. But these will all become root cuttings. So you can see all these curly little bits, they make beautiful root cuttings like that. So these are certainly not going to be wasted. Every little plant that comes out here will have a lot of character. You see how bent and twisted this one is. This instant bonsai here. There, look at it. See, beautiful roots, and that's going to be a beautiful tree. That's going to be a beautiful tree. So I'll come back here. Now I'll roll this out. No need to video this. Right, you can see the size of this tree and all the branches. These branches are just 2 years growth. So what I will do, I'll prune it back to the last year. So this has grown this year. All that, what is it, about 1.4 meters has grown in 1 year since April of this year. So we don't want these. So you must be wondering why I leave it to grow. So again, if I may re-emphasize, we grow it to make the tree strong, and they also act as sacrificials, either to make the trunk strong or to make the branches strong, and then we will decide on how to refine it. So much that goes on behind the scenes which you people don't usually see. And as you know, I have this thing about collecting. I don't collect trees, but we grow our own trees. And over the last 30 years or 35 years that we've been here, 36 years to be precise, we have grown a lot of trees on the nursery, and I don't have to collect because they have come into their own. They're lovely and mature. So all I'm using is the trusted Felco secateurs. I can't speak highly enough about Felcos. There are a lot of imitations, including many imitations made in China, but they're not the same. They're just not the same. Felco is supreme. Nowadays I make sure I always wear a left-hand glove when I use the right hand to prune. This is the fun part, really. Hopefully when lockdown is over, we'll have some special open days where I can invite you guys over to the nursery and help me with some of these projects, and then you can see for real what is going on. That will be fun. This year I was hoping on the 20th of June it could have taken place, but sadly no. Not to worry. In bonsai we learn to be patient. So if the lockdown has taught us anything, it has taught us to be patient. And as long as you have survived and your mental state is still okay, I think you will come out of it stronger. As they say, during the lockdown, a lot of people have suffered mentally. So I haven't begun to understand how some people have suffered. I'm very lucky that we live in this lovely open space and we don't have the problem of having to cope with living in a cramped space. So very lucky in that respect. So I've been able to keep my sanity. What a lovely way to spend a Sunday morning. I don't think that's even taken 5 minutes. So here we are. This is what the tree looks like. And this tree has got many options, many possibilities. These are all sacrificials here to thicken the trunk. And a lot of the holes in the trunk or uro are natural. They're not carved. I don't like carving just for the sake of carving, but when the holes grow naturally like this, they look so nice. Absolutely natural. So these are going to be features of this tree for the future. And now if we look at this tree again, in fact I may take it into the back greenhouse and work on it, and we'll decide how we improve the tree. So this is the rough work that I've done on this one. at the tree from this side, this is one of those trees, and the fact that it was in a round pot was because I did realize early on that this tree has possibly two fronts. This is a possible front, and the other side with the holes in it is also a possible front. So there's a lot of potential going for this tree. And of course it's got this triple trunk, which makes it very, very interesting. But it can be a problem if you don't know what to do with it, because it can be too confusing. So I think if I took this off, I probably don't need to take it into the back very enough. I can do enough work from here. This one we don't need that either, so I'll take this off. So let me just use the lopper. So what we are videoing today is really what I normally do in the course of the day. There are so many projects going on, but self-videoing doesn't always work. Like this, how can I put a camera on a stand and video what I'm working? So it's only when I have the luxury of having someone like Josh nearby to help video this, that you can see some of the work that I do during the course of my day. So this is going to be nice like that. Now this one at the back, there's a lot of conflict there, so let's tidy this up a little bit. This is too long there, so let's shorten this. These can be a bit confusing. Now once I've done this, now from here on, I will keep very close control of it and won't let it go mad again. It will be closely monitored because all the hard work has been done. The tree has become strong. I think I'll leave that, that's quite nice. I'm still tending to look at this from this side because looking at this is a nice one. But as you know me, I always keep an open mind because you never know, you might suddenly see something which you didn't see before. And if you take drastic action and foreclose the opportunities, you won't get a chance to go back to what you may have thought was the solution to the problem. And so this is another life lesson. Never foreclose all the opportunities. Always keep your options open. I didn't realize I teach people life lessons, but this is all natural to me. Whatever I do, I think in this way. So it's one of those trees. Whichever side you look, it's got possibilities. So I'll leave you to choose. And you see how the wood is rotting naturally. You see when it rots naturally, this is what happens. See? This is just natural rotting. I'm not doing any carving with power tools and all that. All these holes Look at that beautiful hole there. Look at it. Can you get my finger right in there? And that's all natural, all natural. So it looks so nice when it's natural. When it's man-made, there's always some element of the man-made effect in there. But if you let it create naturally, it is so much nicer. As they say, in bonsai, man often tries to claim all the credit. But if you look at some of these very marvelous trees as bonsai, with those twisted trunks, no way can a person could have created all these beautiful twisted trunks. That was all created naturally. It's all created by the Almighty or nature or whatever you wish to call it. So there you are. In a jiffy I've transformed that tree, which I've been waiting 2 years to do. So that's going to go in another round mica pot. This one, the pot broke because I think we were trying to get it out with a digger, and the digger sliced it with a bucket. That's why it broke. Otherwise mica pots don't usually break. So that's one tree finished. I see another one there which we'll look at again. That's an alder tree. So wherever you turn and look, you see interesting stuff happening. Let's look at this one. Oh, God. You guys must think I'm crazy. Look at that. Okay, let's have a look at this. Now for those of you who don't know your trees, the alder is a tree that grows near water. And where we live in a road called Wire Mill Lane. And there used to be a mill here hundreds of years ago. And there's a river that flows behind the nursery. And where you get water, you get a lot of willow trees and you get a lot of alder trees. Alder is spelled A-L-D-E-R. And the alder tree is a water-loving tree and they grow like crazy. The seedlings just spread all over the nursery. In fact, they are a pest. They grow so vigorously that you can't get rid of the damn thing. So all these branches, you must be wondering why I'm cutting it off. Well, these branches have done their work. They are what we call sacrificial branches. The fact that these trunks are so thick is all because they have fed into the trunk and helped to make it thick. So the beauty of this tree is going to be in that spectacular trunk. Look at it, very similar to the field maple that I've just done. And that's going to be the future of the bonsai. And in the coming year, I'm now not going to let it go so mad. I'm just going to let short branches grow. Just let short branches grow. Or let new branches grow. So this is going to be one hell of a tree. This is probably redundant. We don't need that. Some of these have died, so it's going to get shorter and shorter. So how beautiful is this one? In fact, in the autumn, we're probably going to have a sale. And that's going to be probably sold off quite cheap to whoever wants to make it into bonsai. So let's tackle another project. Okay, I'm in the jungle again, and I was telling you that the alder tree that we just worked on, and it was a seedling in another pot. Look at this. There's another wild seedling. This is I think this is maybe Cotonuita, I'm not sure. But this is how the wild seedlings grow. It's a pest. It's going to kill this maple if I'm not careful. So this is how they grow, and this is all. This tree is probably no more than 2 or 3 years old. So this will have to come out. So this is where you get all this. And while we're here, this is Antarctic beech, a rather rare tree. And I'm going to air lay this because it's got a very interesting trunk. So this will be air laid and the tree will chop down there to make a bonsai. So these are all sitting here for work to be done. And while I'm here, this is a Japanese white beech, Fagus crenata. that I've grown for the last maybe 25 years as from bonsai, and it's become a big tree, and we use it for growing seed from. And we collect the seeds every year and we sell the seeds. The seeds are quite viable. If we come around here, I'll show you some of the seeds that are around. And this is the Japanese Granata, white beech seed. You see how small the leaves are. So this tree is loaded with seed. And we've got to pick it at the right time, because if you don't pick it at the right time, the damn squirrels come and feast on the seeds. They love the seeds and they'll take all the seeds away. But I've got to wait till they get ripe. If I don't let it ripen, then the seeds are not viable. Okay, while we were in the jungle, we will come here and show you. There are all sorts of gems in this jungle. This is a jungle. There are some plants which are shrubs really. Like these trees, they are shrubs. Some trees. This, by the way, if we come on here, Josh, this is a silver birch. And I've always told people that silver birch don't make good bonsai. Very hard to make a decent bonsai out of silver birch. Look at it, the branches die for no reason and it's just struggling there. So I wouldn't even bother. I would probably throw this away. So silver birch are not good for bonsai. Now look at this one. This is sycamore. This is just a wild seedling. And this, believe it or not, from here to there, 10 foot is 1 year's growth. 1 year's growth. Amazing. And I've been trying to make bonsai with this rather than throw it away. 1 year's growth. Don't want that. And there is your bonsai. Rooted in the ground. Oh God, it's growing strong because it is rooted in the ground. If it hadn't rooted in the ground, it wouldn't be as strong. So I think now that it's almost autumn, I don't need to worry about watering so much. Sycamore, for some reason, don't produce from root cuttings. At least I've tried, but they don't seem to grow from root cuttings, unlike the field maple. But they are very vigorous trees. There you are. So here's a sycamore, and it's got a lovely trunk. As you can see, I cut it there, cut it there, cut it there. So each year I keep cutting, and if you now put it in a small pot or bonsai pot, it won't grow so vigorously. And in fact, this, can you see how thick that is? You don't want that. That's spoiling the trunk line. Get rid of it. So that is your bonsai. Sycamore bonsai. So nothing wasted. Nothing ever wasted on the nursery. While I was talking about the alder tree, this is another alder tree. Look at that one. Rooted in the ground. Absolutely rooted in the ground. I won't be able to take it out. It's been growing pot within a pot. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Look, the roots are like a snake.
Dig a job.
Oh. All the trees. Sycamore seedlings. So we will have to get a digger in the winter. When we get a digger, look at the root on that. Absolutely like a python snake. Wrap around the pot. Gone in the ground. I will make a feature of that ugly root, but that's going to be one hell of a tree. So pot within a pot. So that's going to be an interesting project, to say the least.
There's an oak in there.
Oak tree, sycamore trees. All sorts in here. So all we are after is that thick trunk. So I can't wait till the early spring. In February we're going to get a digger and dig that out. While I'm here, this is what we call a failure. This Ilex crenata I imported from Kyushu in Japan in 1990, and I don't know why I bought them, because I know that they're not hardy trees. So it struggled for the last 30 years trying to grow. It was a Niwakia garden tree, but the climate in this country is too cold for them to grow. So those of you who live in cold parts of Western Europe, remember that the Ilex crenata is not a hardy tree. So we've been around, if we walk around the nursery, you will see all sorts of odds and ends growing. This is mainly my maple area. This is what we cut in the summer. They're all going to be made into bonsai. What we call odds and ends. This is another odd tree. This is a nut tree, hazelnut. These are beech trees. We grow them tall and cut them back. So that's how we make the beech bonsai. Constantly cut back. This is another good example. You can see this tree would have been 6 foot high, 2 meters tall, and I cut it down there. New leader grew this year, so that's going to be the new leader, and that's going to be the bonsai. So that's how we do all our bonsai. Lots of secrets being revealed. And while we're walking around, the trees grow so strong here. Look at that trident maple. It was growing in a pot, but it's rooted in the ground, and the roots have gone right in. In fact, it's penetrated the other tree as well. Oh, it's gone into that tree. So this will have to be taken out with a digger. So the more you look, the more interesting things you find. Another trident maple. Another trident maple which has rooted in the ground. And if we walk on the other side, I will show you some interesting things. Okay, let's walk around there. Okay. Now here I've got all sorts of odds and ends growing. These are crab apples. Look at the beautiful fruit in them. But just to show you how vigorous plants are, these are some lime trees. Lime is the tilia, and we do make bonsai out of them. And this tree and these trees are all left here in the ground. That's the silver birch. And when you leave it on the trays, the roots do penetrate the soil. See, this is silver birch. One of the few that I grow. This is what? Sycamore seedling? Sycamore seedling. Tree like that, we cut it down to there. We don't want all that. So that's going to be an interesting tree like that. And this is a maple that's quite interesting. But what I wanted to show you is this trident maple. Look at that one. Come and have a close look at this. The roots have just gone through the pot, that small pot, and gone into the ground. Look at the root there. I can't get it out now. It's so congested. It'll have to be dug out with a digger. And next to it, what do we find here? Look at this one. This is a lime tree. Again, another tilia. Look at the trunk. It's gone into the soil there. Has burst the pot. So it just shows you these trees are so vigorous. In nature, you can't stop them growing. You just can't stop them growing. So there are all sorts of gems hidden here, and come the winter we will take them out. So while they've been growing like this, nothing is lost. Nothing is ever lost. there's always a time and place and reason for growing things in a certain way. So this tall tilia, which is about 10 or 12 feet tall, it's done its work. I could aerate it if I wanted to, but it's so soft wood. Look at it. Look at all that lime tree. Don't need that. So that's going to be the future bonsai. Lime, by the way, does make very nice bonsai. Now please don't confuse it. Lime doesn't mean lemon tree. Lime is tilia. It's got lovely flowers. I don't know why it's called lime, but that's the name of the tree. Looks like it's like a club. There. In utter desperation, I got it out. Look at that for a bonsai. It looks ridiculous, but it's done its work. It's taken the trunk, and I could even make this the tree. Cut that off and have a thick trunk tree with a nice taper. This part must have been grown only in the last 2 years. That's all. There you go. So what another interesting thing about it. So here we have stumbled across another sycamore. I'm going to have a sale in the autumn, and these probably will be offered in the sale very cheap. So what do we do with this? Instant bonsai design. There you go. A lot of people will give the right arm for this tree. Another instant bonsai. These, by the way, are Benichidori with the S-shaped trunks. I've just spotted another interesting tree, which is Hinoki cypress. Hinoki is a very tricky tree to grow. For one thing, the ones which are normally produced in Europe are grafted onto ordinary Chamaecyparis, the ordinary Chamaecyparis or Leylandii stock. Look at the ugly root there. But sometimes people carve it and make a feature of that. So I've been struggling to make a bonsai from this for ages and ages and ages. But I think it will eventually make an interesting bonsai. What the hell, let's take it into the greenhouse and work on this one. So this is an interesting thing to do.